Again, how do you close the gap between the income you have and the income you need? What other sources of income will you have in retirement? Well, just about everybody I meet with has a 401k or IRA. So here's some pros and cons. You have a potential for match funds from your employer. If you have a 401k plan and they're matching your funds, that's free money. Take it. You maintain control over all of your account depending on your vesting schedule. It's tax deductible when the contributions are made. The drawback is you had a potential loss due to market risk. Paying attention to the market lately? If you're 2, 3, 4 years away from retiring, one of the silliest mistakes you could ever make is to lose 50% of your retirement assets. Okay, I hear this a lot. You have a fortune. It comes back. In 2008, it took the average portfolio 7 years to get back where it used to be in 2008. So let's have some fun with this one. We have a repeat of 2008, and it took 7 years to get back to right where you are today. But now you got to add 7 years to your life. You're 7 years older. So yeah, the portfolio came back, but did the last 7 years of your life come back? Okay? So let's be very careful with the risk that's out there when it comes to your retirement assets. The drawback is it's fully taxable upon retirement except for your Roth IRAs, and you take all the risk of the investment decisions and the income distributions. Another way to close the gap between your Social Security check and what you're going to need to provide for your retirement is a defined benefit pension plan. Now, if you work for a corporation or a government agency and they have a defined benefit pension for you, so here are some pros and cons when it comes to this. They're fully funded by the employer, not the employee. They're simple to understand. The benefit amount is known. The drawback is it's only one plan. You have no say in the investment. Most are not inflation adjusted. And again, they're fully taxable upon retirement. Now, I can go into a whole 3-hour presentation just on pensions alone. I won't do that to you. But if you have a pension, make sure you mention that to me when you reach out to me, because there's certain things you need to be careful of when it comes to these. Investments are the other way. If you have your own brokerage accounts, your own Fidelity accounts or Schwab accounts or whatever the case may be. So again, you have some pros and cons here. You get to maintain control over the money in those accounts. You got a potential tax advantage of forms of income from the long-term capital gains. Taxes are paid on the earnings only. Again, there's some drawbacks as well. You still have to pay taxes. There's still a potential loss due to market risk, okay? You got a subject to reinvestment risk, and there's no guarantee for principal protection, growth, or income for the rest of your life. Again, be careful with these, because I'm a big believer that as you get older, then less of your money should be exposed to risk, okay? Now, right now, we're going through some challenging times, and the market's getting kicked around a little bit, right? So the language I'm getting ready to use right now might sound familiar to you. In times like this, you call your advisor, and you say, hey, look, you know what's going on? The market's down. I'm losing value. And they say things like, yeah, but look, you need to stay the course. You're in this thing for the long haul. Plus, it's just a paper loss. So do me a favor. When you lose 50% of your portfolio and you call your advisor and he tells you it's a paper loss, I want you to explain that to your wife. Give me a call. Let me know how that works out for you. Right? It's not, look, as you get older, less of your money should be exposed to risk. Plain and simple. I've been doing this, like I said, for 34 years. I had a gentleman that met with us who was the executor of his Uncle Walter's estate. Uncle Walter was 93 years old. He met with us and he brought me Uncle Walter's portfolio. And it was a total of $3.5 million. When I looked at this portfolio, it was all individual stocks. I don't know if you understand what I just said here right now, but there's a problem with that. You have a 93-year-old in individual stocks, $3.5 million. So when we called the broker to ask him about the actual portfolio, you know what he said to us? Yeah, man, it's going great. Plus, Walter's in this thing for the long haul. Could you imagine he said that to us? Walter's 93 years old. I told him, look, with all due respect, he doesn't buy green bananas when he goes shopping. What long haul are you talking about? But again, they had that same cookie cutter mentality. So be careful here, because as we get older, you should play it safe with a good portion of your assets. By the way, I believe that true diversification is having some of your assets in a place you can never lose it. Another way to close the gap is different annuity programs. Now be careful with these because there are good programs and there are bad. There's good annuities, there's bad annuities. See, the word annuity is just a word, okay? Just like the word car, right? There are Mercedes and there are Pintos. Which would you want to drive, okay? So now be careful with the annuities because knowing the difference is very, very valuable, okay? Variable annuities, not a fan. I'll tell you right now, if you have a variable annuity, reach out to us because I will show you exactly what these programs are costing you. According to the Wall Street Journal, the average fee of an annual the average annual fee of a variable annuity is 3.5%. So if the market goes up 10%, you're making 6.5%. If the market goes down 10%, you're losing 13.5%. Okay. Again, not a big fan here. Indexed annuities, I happen to like these for my clients. An index annuity, they follow the market. So if the market goes up, you go up with it. Market crashes, you stay. You do not participate in the downside risk of the market. And then when the market goes up again, you go up again with it. And when it crashes again, you stay. So I happen to like a program that credits interest to my account and my client's account when times are good, but it keeps us right at bay when times are bad. Okay? Fixed annuities, these are programs that compete against CDs. If you have a CD right now at 1 or 1.5% for 3 years, you could probably get yourself into a fixed annuity for 3.5%. And then immediate annuities. Again, these are the programs for people that put in a lump sum of money and they get an immediate payment, which is typically what pensions are made out of. Now, again, the pros here, you get to maintain control over these accounts. If it's a non-qualified source of assets, so for example, if you inherited $100,000, you could put that money into an annuity and name a beneficiary. Should God forbid you pass away, that money avoids probate. Okay? It's tax deferred on the earnings and there's no mandatory distributions. You got a potential for guaranteed principal growth and income for life. But again, the drawbacks here are they often require a long-term commitment. Permanent life insurance is another way, believe it or not, where you can close the gap between the income that you have and the income that you'll need. Now, look, life insurance has been given a black eye in the industry over the past many years. Why? Because I think a lot of the talking heads that are out there are talking about a bunch of stuff that they don't truly understand the value of. So, for example, let's look at this index universal life insurance. This is what we in the industry call the rich man's Roth IRA. Okay? For those of you, again, who want to reach out and get in touch with us, we will explain this to you. The Roth IRA, when it was first introduced, had a lot of moving components to it that now it doesn't look the way it originally did. One of them was unlimited contributions. So in a sense, this is what these IULs can do for you. By the way, Jim Harbaugh, the University of Michigan's coach, of his $9 million contract, the University of Michigan structured $2 million a year into one of these for a 7-year period. And should God forbid something happen to him, that would pay the family a little over $35 million of tax-free insurance proceeds. And upon retirement, it would give him a little over $1.4 million a year of tax-free assets. Every year, tax-free income. And should God forbid he end up in a nursing home, the insurance company would allow him to take up to 2% of what's in that life insurance death benefit to pay the nursing home. So I tell my clients who actually qualify to have these programs, I tell them, look, I'd rather see you have something like this and not need it versus needing it and not having it. Because I will promise you one thing, you will use one of those benefits. Okay? So again, term life insurance, which is just basically for a specified period of time. So there's no cash value there, so you can't really use that to fill in the gap between your Social Security payments. Now, Social Security, like we said, needs some help, okay? And these are the programs, these are the areas that you all have access to or already partaken in some of these programs where you can close those gaps. So the pros here when it comes to these permanent type of insurance programs, you get to control this money in the account. The incomes are tax-free loans and withdrawals up to the cost basis. There are no penalties for early access. And there's no RMDs, no required minimum distributions. And if you don't use it while you are alive, you're leaving your heirs a leveraged death benefit. These are very popular programs right now with a lot of universities, business owners, big-time corporations. believe it or not, fund their retirement. The CEOs of AT&T, Comcast, Lockheed Martin, okay, they all fund their retirement with these monster cash value policies. But it's not something that's been educated to us the right way. So a lot of times we shy away from stuff because we don't truly understand the whole thing, the whole story. The drawback here, these programs take some time to get up and running. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this content, click right here on any of these videos to get some more ideas on how you can better prepare yourself for retirement.